Mary Catherine Ham, Brian Wilson, Brian Neiman, today's newsmakers, and you, the Morning Majority. 105.9 FM. AM 630.
WMAL. This is one of my favorite songs.
Very nice.
Because there's some rock and guitar work on that song right there.
It's spooky.
It's spooky.
It is 8:38 on the Morning Majority. And we have with us Judge Napolitano. You've seen him all over Fox News, dispensing the wisdom. And he's written a new book. It is Dangerous to Be Right When the Government is Wrong, The Case for Personal Freedom. How's it going, Judge?
Good morning, guys. I'm fine. How are you? I recognize an old familiar voice talking about that rock and guitar work.
Hey, Judge, how are you, my friend?
All right, my buddy, my friend, how are you?
It's been a long time. It's good to hear your voice.
It's good to hear yours. We all miss you, Brian, and congratulations on your new work.
Well, thank you very much.
Well, tell me a little about your book. What do I have to be afraid of? Because I'm often right, and the government is often wrong.
It's a dangerous place to be in. This is the sixth book that I've written on the Constitution and on the government's failure to follow the Constitution and on human freedom. The theme of my books is similar. Your rights come from your humanity by virtue of our existence. Our rights don't come from the government. That's not an academic argument. Because if our rights come from the government, then the government can turn them off and pull them back. If our rights come from our humanity, then we have the right to speak freely, to travel as we wish, to say what we want, to be immune from government surveillance in bad times as well as in good. The issue is that the government just keeps giving me more and more to write about. More and more crazy things keep happening in which people look the other way when the government tramples our rights. And so this book goes through, it's a primer, if you will, on human freedom. It goes through all the basic rights, from thought to speech to press to travel to privacy to the right to be left alone to the right not to have to obey unjust laws, and explains to you the philosophical, the moral, the historical, the legal, and the constitutional basis for all of them.
All right, I got a question for you. We got a story going on here in the District of Columbia involving a guy I'm sure you're familiar with by the name of John Banzaf. He's a professor.
This is the professor who's suing Catholic University.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that. Suing Catholic University, he says that the Muslim students there can't form a sort of a club, a Muslim club or an association, and he says they need to have a place where they can go and pray free of Catholic symbols. Now, we had him on the show a little while ago, and one of the things that he sort of hedged on, he wouldn't give us a straight answer on, is whether or not anybody had actually approached him and asked him to file this lawsuit. He said, it's not an ordinance, I'm not going to get into that. He wouldn't. Basically what it sounds like is he just decided one day, I'm just going to jump right into the middle of this thing and file a lawsuit, even though nobody has come to me, even nobody has complained in a legal way.
Well, this is a great question, Brian, and I appreciate it, and it shows the clash of values and the clash of rights. We'll start with this professor. There is a statute, there is an ordinance in the District of Columbia that basically lets anybody sue in behalf of somebody else. That's a very weird ordinance, because in all the rest of the United States of America, a lawyer has to have a client, and the client has to be someone who is truly aggrieved by the behavior of the defendant. You can't just sue somebody because you don't like what they did. You can only sue somebody if you have a client who's been harmed by what the defendant did. So everywhere, except in Washington, D.C., this professor would need to have a Muslim student who attempted to have a gathering on that campus and who was told you can only do it in a room where there's a picture of the Blessed Virgin Mary or a crucifix or a picture of the Pope. We understand this. This is Catholic symbolism. So that's one issue. The other issue is private property and freedom of religion. I mean, for gosh sakes, this is not only a Catholic university, this is the Catholic university in the United States of America. What would you expect but to find a crucifix or a picture of the Blessed Virgin in every classroom? And freedom of religion says to the people that run this university, you don't have to have something there that would please non-Catholics, because non-Catholics know what to expect when they get there. So we have this ordinance in the District of Columbia at odds with freedom of religion and your dominion over your own private property. Which of those rights will prevail? In my view, and this is an argument directly from the book, historically, traditionally and constitutionally, private property and freedom of religion will prevail over a local ordinance that is trying to tell religious groups what they should do on their private property.
I'm so glad I asked you that question.
Just as I wouldn't go to a Muslim institution and say, "Where's my crucifix?" one should not go to a Catholic institution and say, "Where's Muhammad?"
You are right. You want people to stop obeying unjust laws. Is that a little dangerous, though, especially if the government is attacking rather than defending our rights?
Somebody said to me, "Hey, Judge, what laws do you disobey?"
Right.
And I said, well, here's the truth. The truth is that as a lawyer and as a life-tenured judge, I took an oath to uphold all laws, even the unjust ones. So I'm stuck because I have to obey that oath. But I'll give you an example. We fought the revolution for a lot of reasons, one of which was the King of England let British soldiers write their own search warrants. They didn't have to go to judges. They authorized themselves to enter colonist homes to look for taxable items. The Patriot Act permits federal agents to write their own search warrants. In my view, it's unconstitutional. It's wrong. We've come 180 degrees from fighting against a king who let his soldiers do it to electing a Congress that would let federal agents do it to us. The Patriot Act also says when you get one of these unwritten search warrants, or these self-written search warrants, you can't tell anyone about it. Well, people have begun to challenge these self-written search warrants rather than to comply with them. Now, that's not exactly disobeying the law because the challenge is an anonymous one. It's not Brian Wilson versus the FBI. It's Joe Jones versus the FBI. Just using Brian as an example because he's my longtime buddy. He's not revealing that he received a self-written search warrant, so he's not technically violating the law, but he's challenging the ability of the government to do something that is so un-American,
well, Judge,
so unconstitutional.
Good luck with the book. It really sounds like a very interesting book, and I hope you do well with it.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be on with you.
It's always a
I'm going
pleasure.
to stick my head in there the next time I'm down in D.C.
Please
Sounds
come
good.
by. We'd love to have you in studio.
Be my pleasure. Thank you.